I thought a weekend getaway would save my marriage, but instead I walked in on my wife with two men in our bed. What I found that night didn't just end our relationship, it shattered everything I believed about love. My name's Brian, I'm 33, and my wife, let's call her Rachel, she's 31, and I have been married for close to 5 years now. We met back in college. You know the kind of story, boy meets girl, they fall in love, full of hope and dreams. Rachel was that woman who turned heads wherever she went, and somehow, out of all the guys she could have picked, she chose me. I never quite figured out what she saw in me. She's smart, stunning, always seems so sure of herself, like she's got the world under control. And me? I'm just a regular guy trying to keep things steady. I've been working in finance for years. Not exactly thrilling, but it's enough to give us a comfortable life. Like any couple, we've had our fair share of bumps. Nothing explosive, just the usual back and forth about responsibilities, social plans, and money. But lately something's shifted. Rachel's always been the social type, but these past few months, it's felt like she's slipping away. She's been glued to her phone more than usual, working late more often, and going on more getaways with her girlfriends. I kept telling myself it was nothing, that maybe it's just the stress from her new position. She's a lawyer and her schedule can be punishing, so I tried to be understanding. Still, there was this nagging feeling in my chest that I couldn't shake. Like something beneath the surface was starting to crack. Then, out of the blue, Rachel brings up the idea of a weekend trip. Just us, no distractions. At first, I was hopeful. Maybe she felt the same drift I did and wanted to fix it. We picked out this cozy little cabin up in the mountains. Quiet, peaceful, exactly what I thought we needed to get back to each other. I went into it thinking this might be the moment we find our way back. But I didn't realize it would be the trip that would change everything. When the day came, I tried to stay positive. I kept telling myself I was probably reading too much into things. We packed up the car and Rachel seemed really upbeat, almost overly so. I chalked it up to her being excited and I tried to let my guard down a bit. The drive was beautiful. Twisting roads, autumn leaves, and that kind of calm you can only get away from the city. Rachel kept talking about her latest cases, cracking jokes, acting like everything was fine. For a little while, I believed her. I thought maybe I was just being anxious for no reason. But then there were these strange little moments that kept tugging at my thoughts. She couldn't stop checking her phone. Rachel has always been somewhat attached to it, but this was different. Every time it buzzed, she'd smile to herself or chuckle, then quickly flip it face down if I happened to glance over. It wasn't obvious, but it was enough to send a chill through me. "Who's messaging you?" I asked, trying to keep it light like I wasn't bothered. "Oh, just some work stuff," she said quickly. Too quickly. "You know how it goes." "Yeah, I do. But I also know that work messages don't usually make someone grin like that." I didn't push it though. We were supposed to be relaxing, and I didn't want to ruin the trip before it had even really started. We got to the cabin just as the sun was dipping below the trees. It was everything I'd hoped, quiet, tucked away, peaceful. I started unloading the bags while Rachel went inside, still holding onto her phone. By the time I walked in, she was already curled up on the couch, scrolling again. "So, what do you want to do tonight?" I asked, trying to break the silence. She looked up like I'd caught her off guard. "Oh, I don't know. Maybe we just hang out here, order something in?" She shrugged. It wasn't what I had in mind. I was hoping for some real time together, talking, maybe even reconnecting like we used to. But I went along with it. I told myself maybe I was the one being too tense, too expectant. So we ordered food, opened a bottle of wine, and settled in. But all night I felt like I was on the outside looking in. Rachel was distracted, only half there. Every time her phone lit up, she'd glance at it, then look back at me with this kind of forced smile. Like she was pretending everything was okay. And I just sat there, pretending right along with her, even though inside I felt like I was disappearing. I kept telling myself to let it go. It was just one evening. Tomorrow would be different. It had to be. The next morning, I got up early, hoping to set a better tone. I figured maybe if I did something nice, we could reset the day. I made a simple breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee, nothing fancy, just something we used to enjoy. As I was cooking, her phone buzzed again from the nightstand, and I felt that same sinking feeling all over again. I tried to brush it off. Just focus on now, I told myself. She came out of the bedroom looking exhausted, like she hadn't slept well. Honestly, neither had I. I was tossing and turning all night, haunted by those texts and the way she was acting. "Good morning," I said, trying to sound cheerful as I set everything out. "Morning," she muttered, barely meeting my eyes, immediately reaching for her phone. She was already scrolling while I poured her coffee. I felt like I was right there beside her, but completely unseen. "I made breakfast," I said a little louder, hoping she'd notice. She looked up, finally, but her expression was blank, distant. "Oh, thanks. Looks nice," she said, but the words were hollow. No real feeling behind them. Just noise. We sit down at the little dining table, the food between us growing colder than it should. The silence stretches out, thicker than it has any right to be. I try to lighten things, tossing out questions about her job, how things have been going, even asking about her friends, anything to bridge the gap that's opened up between us. But Rachel's responses are clipped, like she's only half listening. Her eyes keep darting down to her phone, like she's waiting for a message that matters more than anything I could possibly say. And it's starting to eat at me. I'm doing my best to stay calm, to not let the swirling in my chest take over. But the more she checks out, the more I feel like something's going on. Like there's this whole other story happening right under my nose, and I'm the only one who hasn't been given a script. I hate this feeling. Being kept out of the loop, pushed to the side. It's maddening. "Rachel, is everything okay?" I ask, trying to make it sound casual, though my voice betrays me. She looks up, caught off guard. "Yeah, why wouldn't it be?" she says with a quick, practiced smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "I don't know. You've just seemed not yourself lately. Like your mind's somewhere else," I say, quieter this time, trying not to come off too strong. "I just want the truth or something close to it." She waves it off with a small shrug. "It's just work stuff, Brian. Things have been crazy lately. Can we not make a big deal out of it? We're supposed to be relaxing here." Maybe she's right. Maybe I am making this into something it's not. But that voice inside me, the one that's been whispering all along, won't quiet down. Something's off, and pretending it isn't doesn't make it go away. So I let it go for now. I figure if I keep pushing, I'll just drive her farther away. The rest of the day we spend hiking through the woods, soaking in the crisp mountain air and the quiet. The views are beautiful, but all I can feel is the distance between us. She's walking beside me, sure, but it feels like she's 100 miles away. That night, it's more takeout and more wine. I try to relax, to laugh, to act normal. But when I see her smile down at her phone again, just like the night before, it hits me like a punch to the chest. That same private little smile. That same flicker in her eyes. I can't keep quiet anymore. "Who keeps texting you like that?" I ask, and I can't hide the edge in my voice this time. She hesitates just a beat too long before setting the phone down. "It's nobody. Just work stuff like I told you." The words come out smooth, but they feel empty. Rehearsed. Too clean to be real. And my gut is screaming now. She's hiding something. I don't know what yet, but it's there, behind those practiced words and that too sweet smile. I don't push again that night. I don't have the strength for another vague answer. But I know now, I'm not imagining this. I'm not crazy. And honestly, I'm starting to feel scared of what I'll find if I keep digging. The next morning hits me like a weight. I wake up feeling like there's a knot in my chest that just won't loosen. That uneasy feeling has grown into something heavier, something I can't shake. Rachel's already up, perched by the window with her coffee in one hand and her phone in the other. She looks so calm, so peaceful. But watching her so fixated on that screen again makes my stomach turn. I try to snap out of it. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. But deep down, I know I'm lying to myself. Something's wrong, and every instinct in me knows it. "Morning," I say, keeping my tone light as I walk over and place a kiss on her head. She barely reacts. "Morning," she says without even looking away from her phone. It's like I'm a shadow in the room. "Got anything in mind for today?" I ask, already preparing myself for another day of forced smiles and shallow conversation. She finally sets the phone down and looks at me. "I was thinking we could head into town, check out the shops a bit. There's this cafe I read about. It looked cute." Sounds like a decent plan. Sounds normal. But the way she says it, it feels like she's just trying to fill the space, to keep us busy enough so we don't have to talk about what's really going on. "Yeah, sure," I say, hoping maybe getting out of the cabin will shake some clarity into me. Maybe I can stop second-guessing every move she makes. We head into town, and at first it actually feels kind of nice. Rachel points out stores she wants to explore, laughs at a funny sign on the sidewalk, even holds my hand for a bit. For a moment, I let myself believe I was wrong. Maybe this really is just about work. Maybe I let my worries get the best of me. We're sitting at a small cafe in town, sipping our drinks, and for a moment things feel normal. But then it happens again. Her phone buzzes on the table, and I glance over just in time to catch that familiar expression crossing Rachel's face, that soft, knowing smile she thinks I don't notice. It's quick but clear. She flips the phone face down immediately, but I've already seen enough. Something in me snaps. "Who's been texting you all day, Rachel?" I ask, trying to keep my voice even, though it's sharper than I intended. I feel like I've been talking to myself this whole weekend. You haven't let go of that phone since we got here. She looks taken aback for just a moment, like I'd caught her off guard, but then her usual calm mask slides right back into place. It's nothing, Brian. Just work stuff. Can we not turn this into a fight? We're here to unwind. But I can't let it go this time. I lean in a little closer. I know what work messages look like, Rachel. And that's not what this is. I'm not an idiot. You've been acting off for weeks. I can feel it, and I think you're not telling me the truth. For a second I see something shift in her expression, just a flicker, but it's there. Her eyes narrow ever so slightly, like she's measuring her words before she speaks. Then she reaches across the table, placing her hand on mine. Her voice drops into that soft, controlled tone she always uses when she wants to calm me down. Brian, you're reading way too much into this. I've told you, it's just work. You're letting your imagination run wild. Don't let your doubts ruin our time here. The way she says it, so smooth and gentle, only makes me more unsettled. It doesn't feel real, it feels rehearsed. Like this isn't the first time she's had to cover something up. I slowly pull my hand away, feeling like the ground beneath me is starting to crack. I don't buy it, I whisper. I think there's more going on than you're willing to admit. Her face hardens for just a breath before she leans back in her chair and sighs. If you don't trust me, I honestly don't know what else to tell you. And that's it. Conversation over. She goes quiet again and we sit there, finishing our drinks in a silence that feels deeper than any argument could have. By the time we get back to the cabin, she barely says a word before disappearing into the bedroom, mumbling something about needing a nap. I'm left sitting alone on the couch, staring out at the woods, trying to piece together what just happened. My mind is racing, every moment of the past few weeks flooding back, every little sign I ignored now screaming at me. Then it hits me, her phone. It's sitting on the table where she left it, screen dark and silent. I know I shouldn't. I know it's a violation. But the uncertainty is crushing me. I need to know the truth no matter what it is. My hand trembles as I reach for it. She never changed her passcode, it's still the same one she's used for years. My heart is pounding so loud I can barely hear anything else as I unlock it and begin scrolling through her messages. At first, everything seems normal. Work threads. Group chats with her friends. Nothing suspicious. But then I see a message thread with a contact listed under a single emoji. No name. Just a symbol. That's when my stomach knots. I open it and what I find takes the breath right out of me. It's all there, flirtatious banter, inside jokes, messages filled with the kind of warmth and intimacy I haven't felt from her in a long time. The tone, the emojis, the late-night timestamps, it's clear. This isn't some colleague or friend. This is something else. Something more. I scroll through the conversation until I can't anymore. My hands are cold, my chest is tight, and my eyes are burning. I feel like the floor just dropped out from under me. This is the moment where everything I thought we were starts to collapse. I sit there for a while, the phone still in my hand, unable to move. I don't even know what to do. Rachel's in the next room, probably asleep, or pretending to be, and I'm out here shattered. I want to confront her. I want to scream. But instead, I just sit there, silent. Eventually, I can't take it anymore. I need to breathe. I need to get away, even just for a few minutes. I remember hearing about a pool down near the reception lodge. Maybe if I go for a swim, I can clear my head. Maybe I can stop shaking. I grab a towel and head out. She's not around, left earlier I think. Said she needed a break. Maybe that's exactly what I need too. As I near the reception area, I spot her before she sees me. She's leaning on the counter, chatting with a guy, probably in his early 30s, decent looking. The way they're laughing, the way she's twirling her hair, leaning just a little too close. It sends a chill through my spine. I freeze for a second just watching. My brain starts spinning. Is this part of the same story? Or am I just spiraling now, seeing things that aren't there? But it's the way she's smiling at him that wrecks me. It's that same smile I saw earlier. The one she used to save for me. I finally walk up, doing my best to fake calm. Hey, everything okay over here? Rachel turns around, a flicker of surprise crossing her face before she settles into that casual tone again. Oh hey. I was just asking about local spots to check out, she says. This is Ryan. He's been super helpful. The guy, Ryan, nods, flashing that easy smile. Hey man. Just pointing your wife toward the best places to explore while you're in town. And I just stand there, heart pounding, wondering how much more I'm about to find out. I give him a small nod, trying to seem relaxed even though jealousy is churning in my gut. Yeah. That's cool, I say, but the edge in my voice slips out before I can stop it. Rachel picks up on it instantly. Her eyes narrow slightly as she turns to face me. "What's with the attitude?" she asks, clearly annoyed. I shake my head, trying to ease the tension. "It's not attitude. It just seemed like you were really into whatever he was saying." She lets out a sharp laugh and rolls her eyes. "Seriously, Brian? He's the front desk guy. We were talking about trails and cafes. Don't start reading into things that aren't there." I glance at Ryan, who now looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. I suddenly feel like the jealous husband cliché and hate myself for it. "Right, yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to make things awkward." Rachel sighs and turns back to Ryan. "Thanks for your help. We'll check those spots out." Then she grabs my arm and leads me away from the counter, her grip just a little too firm. As soon as we're far enough from the lobby, she stops and rounds on me. Her face is tight with frustration. "What was that about?" she demands. I run my fingers through my hair, overwhelmed. "I don't know. I guess it just looked like you were flirting." She gives me a cold laugh, the kind that makes your stomach sink. "Flirting? Brian, come on. He's a receptionist. Do you think I'm throwing myself at every guy who smiles at me?" I have no response. Everything I say sounds crazy, even to me. Maybe I am overthinking it. "You're right," I mutter. "I'm sorry. I guess I'm all over the place right now." She exhales hard and shakes her head. "You've been acting off this whole trip and it's exhausting, Brian." "Seriously." I don't say anything else. I just nod and follow her toward the pool. I can feel the distance between us growing with every step. We reach the water and I toss my towel aside, diving in, hoping the cold will numb the tightness in my chest. I swim lap after lap, but I can't shake the image of her laughing with Ryan or the softness in her voice when she said his name. I tell myself it was nothing. I try to believe it. But deep down, that quiet, gnawing feeling won't let go. Later that afternoon, I'm still trying to act normal. Rachel suggested we stop by the lobby to book an overnight camping excursion. Something we'd talked about before the trip and something I'd really been looking forward to. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would help us reset. But when we get there, the receptionist is someone new. A younger guy, mid to late 20s, messy hair, kind of laid back. And the moment Rachel sees him, her whole face lights up. Like a switch flipped. "Charlie?" she says, her voice lifting in surprise. I feel my stomach drop. "Charlie?" I've never heard that name before. The guy looks up from behind the desk and suddenly he's beaming. "Rachel. Wow, what are the odds?" He steps out from behind the counter and, without hesitating, kisses her on the cheek. Casual, like it's nothing. But to me it feels like a slap in the face. I'm standing there frozen, trying to keep my expression neutral, but it's hard when every part of me is screaming. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they really are just old friends. But that kiss, the way they're looking at each other, it's too familiar. Too easy. Rachel is glowing. She's laughing, brushing her hair behind her ear, acting like she's just seen a long-lost best friend. Meanwhile, I'm standing there, feeling like an outsider in my own relationship. I clear my throat, trying to cut through whatever this is. "So, you two know each other?" Rachel finally turns to me, her smile faltering just slightly. "Yeah. Charlie's a friend from college. I had no idea he worked here." Charlie grins and nods. "Yeah, crazy coincidence, right? We used to hang out all the time back then." He turns to me, holding out his hand. "And you must be Brian. Good to meet you, man." I take his hand, shaking it a little too firmly. "Yeah. Nice to meet you too." But inside, I'm already starting to unravel. Because nothing about this feels like a coincidence. I shake Charlie's hand, trying to keep it together, but inside my head's spinning. Something about the whole exchange just doesn't sit right. If this guy's such a close friend, why have I never heard his name before? And that kiss, maybe it was innocent, but it felt too familiar. Too easy. "Yeah, good to meet you," I managed to say, forcing a polite smile. "We were actually thinking about booking one of those overnight camping trips. Figured it'd be a good way to soak in the mountain views." "Absolutely," Charlie replies, shifting into work mode like it's second nature. He starts typing on the computer, pulling up brochures and info. Rachel stands beside me, still grinning, and every casual glance between them just makes me feel smaller. The more I try to ignore it, the more my jealousy digs its claws in. We finish booking the trip, thank him, and make our way back to the cabin to pack. I try to stay quiet, try not to bring it up again, but it's eating at me. That scene in the lobby, her reaction, everything about it keeps replaying in my mind. Finally, I can't hold it in anymore. "You and Charlie seem pretty close." Rachel barely looks up from her bag. "Don't start again, Brian. He's just an old friend from college. That's it." Her tone is sharp, dismissive. Like what I'm feeling doesn't matter, like I'm just being dramatic again. It's not that I don't trust you, I say carefully. It just caught me off guard. The kiss, how comfortable you two seemed. She sighs, clearly irritated now. He's European, Brian. That's how they greet people. It's normal. European? That's new. I don't even get the chance to question it before she zips up her bag and moves on like the conversation's over. I let it drop, again. But the knot in my chest tightens. Every time I bring something up, she acts like I'm the problem. Like I'm imagining things that aren't there. Maybe I am, but it sure doesn't feel that way. Later that day we head out for the camping trip. It's supposed to be simple, just one night under the stars, hiking, fresh air. I keep telling myself this is the reset we need, that maybe all my doubts are just stress. But even as we drive into the mountains, the tension between us doesn't fade. Rachel chats about the view, pointing out trees and clouds, but I'm not really there. My mind's stuck back at the lodge, replaying everything. We arrive just before sundown. Our guide helps us set up the tent, goes over the basics, and then leaves us to enjoy the evening. For a moment, things actually feel peaceful. The colors in the sky are unreal, and the crisp air starts to calm me a bit. As night falls and we sit by the fire, there's a quiet between us. But this time it doesn't feel angry. It feels almost peaceful. Rachel isn't on her phone, and for the first time in a while we actually talk. About the trip, our old college memories, even about silly things like the first time we tried to cook together and almost burned the kitchen down. I let myself believe just for a little while that maybe things are still okay. But that doesn't last. Near the end of the night, Rachel starts shifting around, stretching her back, a wince flashing across her face. You all right? I ask, noticing the way she's moving. She exhales, rubbing her lower back. It's been bothering me all day. I thought it would pass, but it's just getting worse. Concern floods in. Why didn't you say something? We could have taken it easy today. She tries to smile, but there's pain in her eyes. I didn't want to ruin the trip. I figured it'd ease up. It didn't. I suggest heading to the tent, thinking she just needs to lie down, but she shakes her head. I think I need to go back to the cabin. Those beds will be better for my back than a sleeping bag. I pause, conflicted. The tent is set up, the night is quiet, and part of me wants to believe this trip could still mean something. But looking at her, I can tell she's serious. Do you want me to go with you? I ask gently. We can both head back if it's too much. She gives me a faint, tired smile. No, you should stay, Brian. You've been looking forward to this night. I don't want to take that away from you. I'll be all right. I hesitate. I'm still not sure if leaving her to go down the mountain on her own is the right call. But then she adds, there's a group heading back now. I'll catch a ride with them. I just need a warm shower, maybe some sleep. And she's right. The group we hiked up with is already gathering their gear, prepping for the descent. It seems harmless enough. For once, nothing about the situation throws up red flags. For once, I don't feel like I'm chasing shadows. All right, I say, rising to help her with her things. Just shoot me a text once you're back, okay? Call me if you need anything. She nods, her expression soft. I will. Promise. I watch as she joins the others, her form slowly disappearing into the trees as they head back down the path. There's a strange emptiness as the last of the group vanishes from view, like something has left with her, something I didn't realize was holding me together. Till I stay. I tell myself this night might be good for both of us. She can rest and I can get a break from the noise in my head. These past few days have drained every part of me and I need time, just a little peace to clear my thoughts without second-guessing every smile, every glance. As the campfire crackles softly in the fading light, I sit back down, the cold starting to settle into my bones. There's a strange quiet now, a stillness that feels more comforting than eerie. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe without holding something back. I want to believe her. I want to believe that Charlie really is just a friend. That the messages I read were innocent. That her back pain was real and she left only because she needed rest. I want all of it to be true. I really do. But deep in the back of my mind there's a voice. Quiet. Persistent. It keeps whispering, telling me not to let my guard down. That if I look too closely, I might find a truth I'm not ready to handle. Still, I push it aside for now. I sit beneath the stars, listening to the wind through the trees, pretending for a while that maybe everything is still okay. Maybe when I get back tomorrow things will feel different. The next morning, everything shifts. Gray clouds swallow the sky. The calm air from last night turns sharp and urgent. Our guide comes by, suggesting we pack up early. There's a storm pushing through, and no one wants to get caught up here when it hits. I'm not thrilled about cutting the trip short, but something inside me feels relieved. There's a growing discomfort in my chest like I've been running on borrowed time. I break camp quickly and join the rest of the group for the descent. The wind is howling now, trees bending as the storm rolls in behind us. I haven't heard from Rachel since she left. Not a single message. No made it back, or feeling better. Nothing. I keep telling myself she's resting. That she turned her phone off. That she didn't want to wake me. But none of those explanations sit right, not anymore. My pace quickens. I make it down faster than I should have, practically jogging through the final stretch. By the time I reach the cabin, the rain's starting to fall in sheets. I fumble with the key, soaking wet, and step inside. It's quiet. Too quiet. I call out softly, expecting to hear her answer from the bedroom. Maybe see her curled up on the couch with a book or watching one of those shows she always has running in the background. But there's no reply. I move through the house slowly, the silence pressing in around me. When I reach the bedroom door, something in me hesitates. My hand lingers on the doorknob, like some part of me already knows what's waiting on the other side. And when I push the door open, everything changes. Everything breaks. I push the bedroom door open, and there she is, Rachel, in our bed. But she's not alone. There are two men with her. One of them is Charlie, the so-called college friend from the front desk, the same guy who kissed her cheek like it was nothing. The other? I don't even recognize him. I can't process it all at once. My brain goes numb. The three of them freeze. Dead still. Charlie's eyes go wide. The stranger's jaw drops. And Rachel, she looks like someone just pulled the floor out from under her. Panic flashes across her face as she scrambles upright, yanking the covers around herself. Charlie's on one side, shirtless, the other guy on the opposite end, barely covered by a sheet. And Rachel's caught right in the middle. It's so clear, so painfully clear that I don't need a single word from anyone. The silence says it all. I stand in the doorway like I've been hit by a truck. My heart's pounding so loud I can't hear anything else. My hands are shaking. My legs barely hold me up. I'm staring, but I can't fully believe what I'm seeing. This has to be some kind of nightmare. A cruel, twisted dream. But it's not. The look on Rachel's face confirms it. This is real. This is actually happening. Brian, she finally says, her voice cracking as she grips the blanket tighter. I can explain. Explain? I laugh. Not because anything's funny, but because I have no idea what else to do. It's the kind of laugh you let out when your world's caving in. What the hell is this? I manage to get the words out, though my voice barely sounds like mine. I'm trembling with rage and disbelief. Rachel opens her mouth again, but nothing comes out. She just stares at me like she's choking on her own guilt. Brian, it's not what it looks like, she tries, her voice desperate now. My voice cracks as it rises. Not what it looks like? I repeat, my jaw tight. Rachel, there are two guys in our bed. How is that not what it looks like? She flinches at the word, our. Good. Maybe for the first time in a while, she feels the weight of what she's done. There's a flicker of something in her eyes, shame maybe. But it's far too late for that to mean anything. I'm frozen. Part of me wants to scream. Part of me wants to run. Part of me just wants to collapse to the floor and pretend this isn't real. Charlie tries to speak, his voice cautious. Brian, look man, we didn't. Don't say a word. I turn on him so fast, the venom in my voice even surprises me. I spin back toward Rachel and my words pour out like acid. How could you do this? With him? With them. Her face is streaked with tears now, but I don't care. I don't want excuses. I want the truth. I want something that makes sense, but I already know I'm not going to get it. It was a mistake, she whispers, her voice shaking. I didn't mean for. To what? I interrupt, my voice sharp, cracking under the weight of every emotion hitting me at once. For me to walk in and find you like this? Is that what you didn't mean? She looks away like she can't even stand to meet my eyes anymore. And in that moment, I feel like everything we built, every laugh, every memory, every late night talk, just crumbled into dust. She just sat there silent. Her lips moved, trying to form words, but nothing came out. Like she was searching for something, anything, that could make this right. But there weren't any words. Not anymore. Nothing she could say would undo what I'd just walked in on. I took a step back, feeling like the floor had given out beneath me. Everything I thought we had, every promise, every late-night conversation, every plan for the future, it all felt meaningless now. I'd been fighting so hard to save something that was already long gone. And suddenly I could see it clearly, there was no going back. I couldn't stay. I couldn't even look at her. Without a word, I turned around and walked out of the bedroom, out of the cabin, out of the mess of whatever was left of our marriage. The storm was raging, but I barely noticed. It was nothing compared to the chaos inside my head. The drive home felt like a fog. I don't remember much, just the rain hammering the windshield and the ache in my chest growing heavier by the mile. I left Rachel behind at the cabin. Left her with the men she chose. I didn't scream. I didn't demand answers. I didn't need to. The silence that hung between us in that final moment said everything louder than words ever could. When I got back to the house, I felt nothing. Just empty. Like something in me had shut down completely. Over the next couple of days, I packed up her things, quietly, methodically, and left them by the front door. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to hear another excuse. It was over and we both knew it. A few days later, she came back from the cabin. She walked up to the door like everything would be fine. But I'd already changed the locks. Through the window, I watched her find the letter I'd left with her suitcase. She just stood there for a long time, not moving. Then she bent down and opened the envelope. In that letter, I told her everything. Not with anger, not with rage, just the truth. I told her how deeply she had betrayed me, how the trust was gone, how whatever we had once shared no longer existed. I didn't ask for anything. I just let her know I was done. I'd already filed for divorce. I didn't want to hear any more. There was nothing left to explain. She sat on the steps outside for a long time, head in her hands. But I couldn't bear to keep watching. I turned away, finished boxing up the last traces of her, and by the time I returned to the window, she was gone. The divorce happened fast. No children, no house to divide, just forms and signatures. After everything, it felt more like relief than heartbreak. But the scars she left behind didn't heal that easily. I tried to move forward. I threw myself into work, caught up with old friends, filled my days with anything that could keep me from thinking too much. But late at night, it always found me again, that dull ache, that lingering question of how it all went so wrong. Then, about a month after it was finalized, I heard from mutual friends. They hadn't really spoken to me since everything happened, but I guess they felt like I should know. Apparently, Rachel had an abortion. She didn't know who the father was. Could have been mine. Could have been Charlie's. Could have been the other guy from the cabin, or someone else entirely. I didn't even know she was pregnant. And even though we were no longer together, even though she was no longer my responsibility, hearing that, it hit me hard. Not because I wanted to be a father, but because it made me realize how deep the deception had gone. That there were layers I hadn't even discovered yet. And it didn't end there. According to what I was told, she'd spiraled since the divorce. Her name had made the rounds, small-town whispers that spread like wildfire. People weren't calling her the sharp, successful attorney anymore. Now she was just the woman with the mess behind her. One guy even called her, the one who couldn't say no to anyone. I winced hearing that even after everything. As much as she hurt me, it was still painful to see the wreckage of what she'd become. I never reached out. I had nothing left to say. I didn't want to reopen wounds that had barely started healing. But I couldn't help wondering, what happened to the woman I loved? Was she always someone I couldn't trust? Or did something change along the way that I never saw coming? I'll probably never know the full truth. Maybe I was blind from the beginning. Maybe she was just good at hiding it. Either way, the damage was done. People talk about her now like she's a cautionary tale. But I remember the woman I met in college, the one who made me believe we could build something real. That version of her feels like a ghost now. And me? I'm still trying to move forward. The divorce is behind me. Her things are gone. But the scars? They're still healing. Slowly. Those first few weeks after she left were the hardest. I wasn't just angry at her. I was angry at myself. I kept going over everything, wondering how I could have been so blind. All the little signs I dismissed, every time I told myself it was nothing. They haunt me now. I pulled away from friends, avoided conversations, and just tried to figure out how to keep standing without crumbling under the weight of it all. Some days are better than others. Some nights, I still dream about her, about the life we almost had. Then I wake up and remember. It's over. But I'm still learning how to live with the pieces. In the beginning, I threw myself into anything that would keep me busy. I picked up every extra shift I could at work, told myself that staying in motion would keep the pain at bay. The logic was simple. If I was too tired to think, I wouldn't have to remember. But it never worked. No matter how long the workday, no matter how drained I felt walking through my front door at night, she was always there, in the corners of my mind. That moment in the bedroom, her in the bed with them, played on a loop I couldn't shut off. Over and over again until I thought it might break me. Eventually, I came to terms with something I'd been trying hard to ignore. You can't outrun this kind of pain. You can't bury it under a packed schedule or pretend it doesn't exist. So I did something I never thought I would. I started seeing a therapist. At first I hated it. Sitting across from someone, laying out my hurt like open wounds, felt like tearing off a bandage before the skin had even started to heal. But as the sessions went on, it got easier. Little by little, I started unpacking everything: the betrayal, the shame, the confusion. And somewhere in those conversations, I stopped blaming myself. I started to understand that Rachel's choices weren't a reflection of my worth. They came from her own brokenness, not mine. Therapy gave me a path forward. But it was physical movement that gave me space to breathe. I started running. Early mornings, before the world was awake, I'd lace up my shoes and just go. I'd push my body until my legs burned and my lungs screamed, and somehow it made sense. The pain was real, controlled, unlike the chaos I'd been through. Every step felt like putting distance between who I used to be and the man I was becoming. Each mile a small victory. I also started reaching out to people again. That was tough. Everyone already knew. I could feel their pity, their sideways glances. For a while that kept me away. I didn't want to be the guy who got cheated on and abandoned. But when I finally swallowed my pride and started spending time with my friends again, I realized how much I needed them. They didn't treat me like I was broken. They just treated me like me. They gave me back my laughter, reminded me of the world outside of all this pain. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had something to hold on to that wasn't tainted by betrayal. I came to understand that healing isn't linear. Some days were better than others. There were mornings I woke up feeling hopeful, strong. Then there were others where the weight came crashing back down and I'd question everything all over again. But with time I started learning how to let go, not just of Rachel but of the bitterness, the resentment, the unanswered questions. She left scars. I won't lie about that. There are parts of me that still flinch when I think too long about those nights, that bed, her lies. But she doesn't get to define me anymore. What she did, that's on her. And me? I'm still here. I'm still rebuilding. Stronger, a little more guarded maybe, but still standing. Bit by bit, I'm finding my way out of her shadow and back into my own life.